Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I hope you're all feeling fantastic today. It's really a pleasure to be here with you, and I am genuinely excited to delve into a topic that's not just relevant, but really essential for the world, my world specifically, my world of students. And they are stepping into this, the digital economy. So let me just share a bit about my role as a school leader. I have witnessed a transformative evolution in educational technology. I have been teaching for close to 25 years now. And initially, technology played a very supplementary role, enhancing, our traditional ways of teaching and learning. The methods, the tools that we used before were just, like projectors and interactive whiteboards. However, the advent of personal computing devices and the internet marked a pivotal shift, liberating classrooms and enabling tailored, diverse learning experiences. But let's be real for a moment. As an educator in today's world, I can say that our world is transforming at a pace that sometimes feels magical, almost magical now for me. Technology is evolving faster than we can update our devices. And in the blink of an eye, what was cutting edge yesterday is old news today. It's like trying to catch a comet on a skateboard. It's exhilarating, but a bit challenging. Just being honest, being an educator. But in the midst of all of this, there's for me as a school leader, there's a crucial conversation that we as educators, with our parents, with our stakeholders, we need to have. And I know in the next few sessions and today and tomorrow, you will get a lot of information, right? But I do want us to just pause for a moment and reflect on why we are doing those things. I think it's important to just recognize the humanity around the things that we're going to be acquiring in the next few sessions. It's really about how we prepare our students for a future that's not just digital, but it's intricately woven into the fabric of technology, right? So I just want to share that with you. You see, it's not enough to teach our kids to use a computer or, create a database or put slides together for a presentation. I did that, but I think we need a holistic approach to education that equips our students with the tools to help them make sense of the world around them. It's not anymore a rat race, if you like. There's more humanity in it. And that's, I think, what I would like to bring forth today before we start with this overwhelming, exposure. We're going to explore, I would like us to explore three key pillars that form the foundation for me. I would like to call it the ABC of preparing the students for the digital economy. Of course, first up, we have to look at the ICT skills, the essential building blocks, and that allow our students to communicate, create and collaborate in the digital realm. Next, we will delve into this concept of data-driven design. In a world where information is power, understanding how to collect, to analyze, to make decisions based on those skills is really something that I think would open countless doors. And finally, let's explore this aspect very close to my heart, which is ethical decision making. As technology becomes more ingrained in our daily lives, it's not just about what we can do with the technology, but how we should do it. And that's where I come in with ethical considerations. So let's begin our engaging discussion on the art of preparing our students for the future with technology. But before I begin, I would like to express my sincerest thanks to the UNESCO Institute for Information Technologies and Education for inviting me to the Connect 2.0 International Online Conference. All right, so why digital economy skills matter? I will be sharing with you a lot of the things that I have encountered as an educator. Of course, I'm also pursuing my doctorate degree on this matter, and this is really something relevant to me in my heart and many of the things that I've come through. But before I go there, I want us to think of the global marketplace as a giant stage. The digital economy would be on the spotlight, right? In an era where technology is the backbone of progress, individuals and nations, we all know this, who would have these skills actually take the center stage. They possess a competitive advantage, if you like, that extends beyond borders. It's not just about keeping up, it's about leading the pack in this digital race. The ability to navigate the digital landscape seamlessly is the key word, becomes actually a passport to competitiveness, global competitiveness. Now let's talk about the green of it. Is it about just acquiring it, or is it about proficiency? Proficiency in digital economy isn't just a ticket to the job market; it's actually the golden ticket. As a parent, I also look at how will my children survive in the future, imagining doors swinging open to different opportunities for them, each more rewarding and high paying than the last. And it's not just about securing a job anymore. It's about choosing from a menu of possibilities in the digital world. Next, this is the data from the World Economic Forum 2020. And I thought of sharing this with you because whenever I look at different concepts that I would like to understand, I always look at what is available out there and what the world is telling me. Picture this, a landscape that's not just changing, it's actually shape shifting. We always talk about, oh, the world is changing. No, it's shape shifting. And it's important for us to be updated on what is out there. This was taken a month ago, and let's see how much more will it shift in the next few months as we speak. But here's where these digital skills become our superpowers, right? They are the fuel for our innovation, the secret sauce that makes individuals adaptable to whatever curveball the digital world throws us. Innovation isn't a buzzword. We heard this from Natalia this a while back. Innovation isn't a buzzword. It's the heartbeat of progress. These skills are the enablers, turning individuals into assets in industries ranging from healthcare to finance, of course, to entertainment, and of course, to education. So as we navigate our digital age, let's not see the skills as just to-do lists, right? Let's see them as keys, unlocking the doors for the children for a better future, for a globally competitive world, allowing them to have a lot of job opportunities and a culture of innovation and curiosity. Let's talk a little bit about now. Let's set the stage for our digital landscape. Let's zoom into our first stop of our ABCs, right? The first one, which is our digital landscape. Just step back and paint a picture of a digital landscape in your mind, especially where you are at in your schools or whatever area you are currently working in. Do you see the same thing as months ago, as years ago? No, definitely not. The answer would be it has reshaped into something that the members of your community had contributed to change. From the way we talk to each other, especially, of course, as a result of the pandemic, from the way we communicate to our parents, the way we communicate to our kids, the way we play, the way we inquire into topics and subjects, the digital economy has become the heart of the existence of many of us. Of course, I'll give you so many examples being here in India of how I have finally learned how not to bring a wallet and just use my phone with everything that I do. But just imagine the vast impact it has on different other industries. Of course, I'll give you a very, very quick example here. Take health care, for instance. Telemedicine has become not just a convenience, but it has become a lifeline, isn't it? I'm sure that you have the same experience as me. We've got patients who are connecting with healthcare professionals. There's a fusion of technology and healthcare and saving lives. Let's talk about business. The digital landscape has transformed traditional models of business. You are very familiar with Amazon, I'm sure. It's very famous here in India. E-commerce has redefined the way we shop, breaking down the walls of stores and opening up a world of choices at our fingertips. But let's talk about the job market, right? As part of my work as a school principal, I have to look at the ongoing education of my kids finishing K-12. And we have to consider talking to our parents about the demand for digital skills. And I tell them it's not a ripple. It's actually a tidal wave. It's reshaping the employment landscape. And as a school, how do we redefine our learning environment to meet those needs? And of course, at the end of the day, as an educator, what plays a pivotal role in this narrative? Of course, I talk to them about ICT, right? It's the information and communication technology. that really needs to stand at the cornerstone. From artificial intelligence that we were talking about to machine learning to the Internet of Things, ICT is the force propelling us into uncharted territories of possibilities. Here's a visual from Safter Nazir. He is the Senior Vice President of Huawei Digital Industries. And I thought to share this with you because of how he argues that the COVID-19 pandemic has only reminded us of the fact that teaching the world on digital technologies is not just about digital knowledge, it's about building digital resiliency. And that's a new word for me, digital resiliency. So if I am going to be looking at the policy design or redefinition at my school, what is this concept of digital resiliency? And I think for him, what he's really trying to drive at is that the role of ICT is not confined to a specific sector, and it can be a catalyst that permeates every facet of what we do in our lives. So if we are only going to limit our thinking in what we do at schools, then we are limited in allowing opportunities for our kids. So what he is trying to tell me is that you need to branch out, and you don't just focus on education right now. And I think that's the reason why many of us should attend conferences like this, because we get exposed to a lot more opportunities to look at business, to look at healthcare and other areas of our world as people. So what is the reality of schools at the moment? Of course, the reality of schools is we are not connected. It's very uncertain for us at the moment. There's a lot of teachers who've left the education sector in the past few years because they just couldn't cope up. And I was sharing with you about my past 24 years of experience. If I was not curious, if I was not open-minded, I would leave the job. I don't think I can handle this. And it's just a reality of our teachers as well as at our schools. If we tell them, okay, let's do professional development, let's go ahead and support each other, I think that's not enough anymore. So I really feel that it's such a challenging moment, and it's important for many of us to consider that, maybe come together and really highlight the need to also support our community, our own communities. Well, we're not just preparing students for a digital economy anymore. I think we need to immerse them in it. So digital literacy isn't about knowing the how, it's about understanding, manipulating, and immersing themselves in the language of the digital age. Now, if our teachers are not there, how can they support the community? How will they be able to integrate the ICT in the curriculum if they're scared of it? It's an honest truth. And I think I represent a lot of the teachers around. They're very scared of infusing technology into learning. But imagine our students now coming out of those types of schools. And I think picture a class who's limited in understanding of the world around them, and they suddenly become overwhelmed with different skills that's required for them in the digital world. So how do we successfully integrate ICT? Of course, here are just some of the few examples that I started with. I started looking at elements of the school that can be replicated. I started with that. And then I started introducing little tools that the teachers can be comfortable with. And then eventually, I gave them the agency. I gave them the choice. If this is where you want to go, if you can just embed technology in that element, be comfortable. There's no threat in your life for that. Just go ahead and make it happen for the students. And one of the lessons that I taught my teacher, not lesson I taught my teacher, but one of the things that I shared with my teacher was never work harder than your students. Just release the control and just let them lead the lesson. And maybe with that release of control, you'll be able to be a little bit more open-minded with embedding technology. So technology wasn't just a tool, of course, it became a bridge that connected the students from different areas, different backgrounds and different experiences. It allowed them to foster collaboration, and they started working together. And of course, the educators in the real world, they became the superheroes in this narrative. They embraced technology, not just as a challenge, but as an opportunity to revolutionize their classrooms. To be honest with you, they were threatened initially. They were threatened not because they would lose their job, not that. They were threatened because they were scared the kids would not learn anything. So I don't want to call the pandemic a blessing in disguise, but it was a blessing in disguise, to be honest, because of that fear that their valued children were not able to do what they usually were doing. The teachers were forced to really break the barrier and embed technology in their learning. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Maybe it is. I will look at it as a good thing always. Now that we have set our sights on the digital landscape and really explore the concept of ICT in the classroom, let's now move on to the second bit, which is more on the leadership role, which is your data-driven design for effective decision making. Now, imagine the students who not only, like I mentioned a while back, look at data and cut and paste, but really analyze the data, look at the patterns, unlock it, and make informed decisions based out of it. Imagine a world where our kids can do that independently. So that's where I can come in with my second bit, and that is is the data-driven decision making approach. Let's bring this concept to life with some examples. I'll give you an example where a child will look at a science project where students collect data on local environmental factors, air quality, for example, temperature and pollution levels. We do that at our school. By analyzing this data, they not only understand the impact on their community, but also propose solutions for a greener, healthier environment. So that's the goal that we are looking at when we talk about data-driven decision making. Another example in social science class, students explore historical data. They uncover the patterns that reveal the insights into the change that we go through over time, and then present that with what will be in the future. And of course, let's not forget the practical applications of data analysis in problem solving. We can see that a lot of have looked at data sets and have taken action as a result of that inquiry. I think someone wants to say something, or I'll just continue, right? Yeah, okay. But it's not just about the subjects, of course, that we do in the class. I really want to highlight here the data literacy as a life skill. If a child looks at data and can make sense out of it and look at elements that they can improve upon because they have enough exposure at the school, I think that is the goal of education, being able to allow the children to look at what is available in front of them and really decide which one makes sense for them. And I want to highlight this in relation to artificial intelligence and what we see will be coming in as an overwhelming area of knowledge. I want my kids to be able to look at the information that they're looking at. Let's talk about ChatGPT, right? Whatever comes on ChatGPT, they should be able to make sense out of that. And it's not just looking at it as the ultimate truth, but really see and analyze your higher level thinking of what they can make sense out of that. And I think for me, if I see my kids going through learning and being able to look at data and analyze that and say, Miss, I don't think this makes sense, and I think this is the best tool that I can use, to me, that is the ultimate gift of learning. All right, so I just want to show you this visual, which is very important to my heart, and that is now ethics by design. I am now on my last bit. I first looked at ICT and the tools that the kids will be looking at. The second is about data analysis and really understanding the mind of it all. The last bit, I would like to talk about the heart. Here is a visual on AI's ethical considerations. And I always find that, hold on. Yeah, I always find that if I have a visual from a researcher guiding me, at least I'll be able to really start with something, that was the visual. Let me just go back. There you go. Here's a visual on AI's ethical concerns for our consideration. We know that AI is being used in a variety of ways to continuously improve our standards as a group of people, but it's important to look at all of the different elements that can be considered as an ethical risk when technology is in the wrong hands. So what did I do with this visual? I took this out, brought it to a staff meeting, and I asked my teachers to look at all of these elements and just let's make sense out of this image. And we're still working on it. And what I like about it is that it started a dialogue. It started a conversation around what really makes sense when we bring in AI into our school. So I obviously will be sharing this presentation with you, and you can have a look at the resources where I got them from and explore them further, if you will. Responsible digital citizenship is more than just a buzzword. As we mentioned, it's the foundation of a healthy and thriving digital society. Um, it's about understanding the impact of our online actions, respecting privacy, of course, and fostering a culture of empathy in the digital space. But I really want to talk about the moral compass that guides our actions. Many times our teachers, including me, we spend most of our time looking for tools and strategies on how to do things. But the tough question is not shared. And that is, should we do it? Ethical decision making is more along the lines of not what we're doing, but should we do it? So imagine a scenario where you have to choose between maximizing profits or protecting the privacy, or think about the challenges of developing artificial intelligence that respects diversity and avoids reinforcing harmful biases. These are not mechanical things. They are very organic things, and they are usually theoretical puzzles. And how can I teach that, right, to my children? How can I enable my teachers to make ethical decisions based out of the use of AI? So think about the students navigating the social media landscape. They encounter questions of online etiquette, digital footprints. One example, the consequence of cyberbullying. These are ethical challenges that shape the culture of our children. And as a school, what do we actually do to support that? Those are a lot of questions that I have in my mind. So here is a visual on ethics and governance of AI. This is from the Berkman Klein Center for Internet and Society at Harvard University. And as I mentioned before, there's a lot of questions in my mind, but I always look for ideas that I can implement, unpack it with my teachers, unpack it with my parents, and then we all make sense out of it. And this is another tool that I have shared with them. And during one of our PD Saturdays, we sat down and we just looked at all of this. We published our inclusion and assessment policies at our school as part of our requirement. And we have started embedding many of these tools into our policies because we want to be inspired by research. We also want to make sure that we are doing the right thing. So we had this through curricular integration. We looked at professional development of teachers, and I thank the presenters this morning for allowing us to look at a lot more options for our professional development. We also looked at student engagement, and at the end of it, we really looked at open dialogue, looking at tools that we can use as a school community. We cannot handle everything by ourselves, and we do believe that collaboration is always the most important thing. As a school leader, I just want to end this by sharing with you my vision as a school leader, and that is to ensure that my community, my students, my parents, and my teachers are capable of dealing with the change and many of the overwhelming tools that are available for us at the moment. I also want them to pause for a moment and just reflect on what is required, what is the purpose, and what is it that makes sense for you. It is very easy to get lost in the Internet of Things, but it's also important to always remember our humanity. In my role as a teacher and as a leader at my school, I always want I always want to be informed, always continuously engage with latest research, always practicing new ideas, looking at data, dissecting it with my team and discussing it with colleagues like yourselves. I also want to promote the culture of research at my school and looking at, us sharing our initiatives through discussions like this one. And at the end, of course, to really just make it real, we have real life superheroes here with Elon Musk as a Tony Stark, I'd like to say, of our digital era, looking at what they have done so far, looking at the humanity of it. Of course, you've got here as well Sundar Pichai, maestro of the digital symphony, looking at what they are doing, not just leading tech giants, but he's orchestrating growth and advancement. His journey really underscores for me the significance of leadership in the tech realm. And of course, I just share with you three examples here. Sheryl Sandberg also as a force to be reckoned with, the COO of Facebook. She's not only played a significant role in the platform's success, but has been a vocal advocate for diversity and inclusion as well. So as we reach the end of my exploration today, I know there's a lot of things, but I just want to simplify it into these three important points, right? And that is there's a vast landscape of information and communication technology skills. There are the building blocks. Without them, our world will not evolve to where we want it to be. It's important that we address the needs of our school community with regards to ICT, do a SWOT analysis of our teachers, our students, our parents' confidence level in the use of ICT. Next, we look at now what makes sense with that data that is given to you. Now what makes sense with the tools that we have. It's not just about knowing them, but what makes sense to where you want to go. Where is your vision? Where you want to, what do you want to achieve? And in the end, is it going to make our lives better? You know, is it something for the greater good? And how do we know? Ethical decision making. It's a very important component for me. So as we conclude today, I encourage each one of us, of course, each one of you to take this discussion beyond these walls and engage with these ideas, challenge them, and let them spark new insights. Thank you, everyone, for your attention to our discussion. Back to you, Tatiana.
Thank you so much for this inspiring talk. And wow, your energy is very, very contagious in a good sense of that. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your speech, for your talk. And here we have a comment, I suppose, from Helen. Prior to ethical decision making, maybe students will need digital um, critical digital evaluation skills to develop what is really useful and effective based on critical digital skills evaluation. As an education consultant based in Ireland, I have a particular interest in critical visual literacy skills, which is along the same lines. A wonderful thought-provoking presentation, but how do we define success in digital technology based on critical skills and evaluation? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. I do have a tool that we use for our success criteria. We call it our assessment design. I whatever tool we have, what I want to highlight is it was co-constructed with our students and our teachers. I don't see myself as the leader of it. I really see myself as a facilitator of a discussion. There will be some points in my mind that I think where everyone should be going, but because I value individual perspectives, I find that my community comes with a better assessment tool. So we do have checklists, we do have rubrics that we use. An earlier teacher would have a different set, a pre-university teacher would have a different set. I think it all depends on how it was co-constructed by the community. We had a session on academic integrity with my grade 11 kids. And then with that, the success of that is, of course, for us being able to really put in the forefront this discussion of academic integrity. When I bring that discussion down to my grade 5 kids who's doing an inquiry on a PYP exhibition on the SDGs, it became a totally different tool for them. For me, it's not just, again, looking at what, but really looking at the community coming together to make it happen for our school.
Thank you so much for the answer.
Thank you.
I suppose Helen is typing something.
You're welcome. Thank you, Helen. Thank you so much, Tatiana.
Any more questions?
It's not easy. It's there were moments where my teacher would say, Annabelle, I can't do this. And I tell my teacher, just go take a break and I'll take care of the class. And then there's nothing wrong with stepping back, and really, if you need to run, you need to just sit down for a moment if you think you can't do it anymore. So I am there just as a compass for my teachers, a lighthouse, if you will, because we need to not we need to always remember where our children, we need to always remember the humanity in the whole community. And sometimes I've got a teacher who just says, Miss Annabelle, I can't do this. I said, it's okay. For example, Tatiana, it's okay, Tatiana, we will have Galina to support you, don't worry about this. And just by witnessing, again, the enthusiasm, witnessing that humanity, I think they were able to say, okay, you know what, there's nothing wrong with this, let me try it. But I also need to consider the resources available at the school, number one. And I may not know, I don't know if we have decision makers here. We really need to give resources to the teachers as well. It's not just the mindset. We also have to give the resources. We need to have a vision. We need to have a map. If we don't have a map, then we will also get lost where we want to go. So change management is also important. Thank you once again.
Let us see. I don't know, there is a comment. Thank you for the excellent presentation. What most urgently concerns me has to do with the use of critical sense and the use of AI, with the issue of ethics having to prevail.
Yes. And I'd like to go back to the tool of the Harvard School of Education. I think I'm going to share this tool with you guys as well. Again, there's a lot of jargons. And as a K-12 teacher, I really want to make sure that we also unpack the jargon. So there's something called principled AI, or principled artificial intelligence. It's a map of ethical decision making. So just take it, unpack it with your school key staff members and have a committee look at, you look at principled AI decision making. I think that is going to be a good start for you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, cybersecurity. There was a question
Yes.
on cybersecurity as far as children. We really have to bring our parents on board here. I started with my parents. I called in an expert from the local bureau. We are fortunate to be connected with the cybersecurity ministry here in India. And well, we forced ourselves to connect with them. Basically, we invited them and we started talking to them about, what is it actually? So we started with our teachers and then we invited our parents in, and then both forces started creating something simpler for the kids. But I think the adult should be at the forefront of this. They should be the one knowing what is required. And here in India, the government banned TikTok years ago. And in my mind, I was like, thank God. I'm sorry, because it has, I've seen nowadays how it has actually brought a lot of cyberbullying cases online and a lot of children getting affected because it wasn't normalized and no one really has that. And at the end of the day, I'm working with children and I really want to make sure that I'm doing a good job there. Forget about the adults, let them handle their world. But right now, I still have to take care of children. And many teachers say, no, Miss Annabelle, we have to expose them. How will they know the real world? I said, they will get to know eventually, but not right now. Maybe there's a proper way of unlocking that. Maybe I'm a very conservative teacher, and that's okay. And I'm okay with that. But I do feel that at least with that moment of me caring for my little ones, at least until grade 8, by grade 8, I start, talking to them about the real world out there. Yeah.
Thank you for the comment. There was the question, just for those who are going to watch this online afterwards in the recording. The question was, can you please elaborate a little more on cybersecurity as far as children are concerned?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
That was the question. So be on board with experts in the field. call the cybersecurity bureau of your local bureau, because they have a lot more information and they can help you, and being the experts, being the teachers, you will be the one to unpack that in the language of the children. That's our responsibility. But I cannot just say whatever, I have to make sure that I have the experts supporting me. There was a session with one of our cyber police who came to our school. It was a grade 6 session, and the cyber and the representative just said, "Who among you plays this thing called Roblox?" I don't know if you guys heard of that. And the kids were so enthusiastic; they were raising their hands. And then he said, "Don't you know that that is only for 14-year-old kids?" And then they're all like sank in their seats and they got scared because it was the policeman in full uniform who said, "You're not supposed to be playing that." And that was enough, I think so, to turn everybody around and tell, let's go sit down and discuss this very important topic. And of course, I've got my grade 9 kids who would have a lot of issues with cyberbullying, posting content online, and things that are really very dangerous for them. And so it is not, it's a battle scene. I have to tell you, I have to bring in reinforcements from different areas of the school to make sure that everybody understands where we're going, and making sure the child's safety is our priority.
Thank you. And I think the last question we are taking for your presentation, there is a question from Sam. Really enjoyable presentation. How do you feel about campus bans on mobile phones?
So it depends really. And we do not allow mobile phones in the classroom because, again, of the access and the open access that it has. I'll be honest, I don't allow it until grade 9, but grade 10, because they're pre-university and pre-diploma. So when I say grade 10, I talk about kids that are 16 years old. So for them, it's not banned for them. But for the lower 15 years old below, we don't allow them. They are allowed to bring their phones to school, but we ban them in the campus. We do have a firewall in our school campus as well, so we can access what the children are accessing as well whenever that is required. And we ensure, again, that we have the typical firewall up that they cannot access. Again, just for exposure of the children. They're not ready for that.
Thank you for the answer. There is also the last comment, perhaps, again from Helen. Giving students tools and skills to be critical
Exactly.
rather than passive absorbers of information seems to be important to include digital
Very
skills competence.
It's very much, yes.
Thank
So
you for your
we
comment.
kept talking about bullying, but for me, I believe in strengthening my children, making them strong advocates of ethical use of technology. Yes, I agree. Thank you.